Hello, I'm Kelly the Gentleman Maker. In this video I'm going to make a rustic style frame to go around this old mirror. Here it is, that's good enough. So I went to my local DIY hardware store right here in the village and asked him if he had any square-headed bolts. That's what I wanted. I've seen them before. He looked at me like I was some kind of weirdo. So, turns out the hardware stores on this planet only seem to carry hex-headed bolts. Who am I to argue? I don't wish to be discovered. So I got some of those. There's 3. There's another one somewhere. I'm going to use those. They're a bit long. We'll cut them down and use those at the joints. Here it is, partially assembled. Partially assembled? Temporarily assembled, that's the word. Similar syllables, different meaning. We'll deal with that hole. That's the lock hole. Whee! There you go, bolts in. I'm going to offer the mirror up to the back because we need to cut a rebate along the 2 long edges to sink the mirror down to this level. Let's offer it up and see how much we need to take out. Here's the easiest way. I've dropped the mirror in against the long edge there, so there's an overlap on this edge, and that overlap there will be twice what we need to take out on each side. So I'll measure that with a measuring thing or a pencil. Let's use a pencil. Mark a line. There it is. That measures, wonky as anything, that measures ½ an inch. So we take 1/4 of an inch out on both sides, this side and the other side, as a rebate, and the mirror can drop into that. So what I've done is I've measured from the blade to the back edge of the router there, and I've set my fence to equal that measurement from where the cut's going to be to there, and I'll run the router along that. I'm going to do it in a couple of passes because we need to ultimately take out this depth to get down to that level. Let's do that. in addition to the bolts, I'm going to make some square washers to go underneath them. I've got a piece of steel sheet here left over from another project. So I think, looking at the bolt head in relation to the rule, 1.25 inches square. So I'm going to mark them out on here and cut them out by hand. Woohoo! I'd like to try blackening these washers just for the effect. Now I've read that if you heat steel up with a propane torch and then drop that into used motor oil, it blackens the steel. So, as I happen to have some used motor oil, as most people do, let's give it a go. Here they are, all cooled out of the oil. I'm going for partial success. The bolts, no, not at all. But then they were galvanised. That might make a difference. I couldn't really heat the steel up perhaps as hot as it needed to be. But for comparison, there's a bit of the raw steel, untreated. And there's the blackened version. Where's my finger? I've lost it. There it is. They're never where you think they are. So I think, on balance, that'll do. Right. On to the next part. Here's a hole in the front face. That was where the door handle mechanism came through. So I haven't got a plug cutter. So what I've got, just happen to have this old part of a chair, turned part. I shall glue that in, lining the grain up. It's never going to match perfectly, but glue that in, cut it flush, sand it. That'll do the job. Now I'm going to try this wood dye. The wood itself is quite heavily waxed, so I'm not sure how this is going to take. I'll give it a go, see how it comes out. It might need 2 coats. Let's crack on with that. Yeah, that's not making much of a difference, is it? Oh well. That's a coat of stain on. I'm going to let that dry, go and have a bit of lunch, come back and do a bit of waxing. Oh! There we go, back from lunch, chicken sandwich and a few Frank Howarth videos, and I'm restored. And I brought this back with me. It's Colron wax. It's a paste, I guess. I'm going to put that on with an old t-shirt and that'll give a nice finish. Nearly there. I'm just going to add the batten along the bottom, just as a little bit of backup. It's well held in these corners, here and here, but I think that's just going to make me happier. I don't want to hear the mirror sliding out in the night. Let's trim this, bit of glue, nail it in. This is really quite hard to show. It's quite tall. It would have been easier to do it horizontal. There we go, one rustic mirror frame. Let's hang that up, see how gorgeous I look. Thanks for watching.